right. I'd like to give a very special welcome and introduction for our next speaker, Nikita Smith. Nikita is 12 years old and was born with Leber's congenital amaurosis, which is a genetic condition that causes severe vision loss at birth or early childhood. Nikita courageously shares her personal experiences living with blindness to raise awareness and funds for eye research. Most recently, Nikita spoke at Ride for Sight, which is the Foundation Fighting Blindness's motorcycle fundraiser. As one of our youngest ambassadors, Nikita shares her hopes for a future filled with sight-saving therapies. Please welcome Nikita Smith.
Hi everyone, and thank you for coming out today to Vision Quest 2014 Calgary. My name is Nikita Smith, and it is a great privilege to be speaking to everyone today about myself, my experiences of living with vision loss, and my hopes for the future. I am 12 years old, in grade 8, and attend Valley Creek Middle School. I am just like any other young woman in junior high school, but I just happen to be blind. I was born legally blind. However, being blind does not define me as a person. Until recently, I had gone undiagnosed. In December of 2013, my mom received a phone call from the Alberta Children's Hospital and was informed that they wanted to meet with her as they believed they were finally able to diagnose my eye condition. I was diagnosed with Leber's congenital amaurosis, or otherwise known as LCA. I have the gene IQCB1 of LCA, which has only recently been identified by researchers. There are 18 recognized different forms of Leber's congenital amaurosis. I was diagnosed with the 17th identified type of LCA. Basically, for the regular person, that means I was born blind. I only have light perception in both of my eyes. I know it might sound strange, but I feel lucky that my vision has always been this way, that I did not have to go through the painful process of losing my vision. What does this mean for me being blind? Well, it means that I cannot see people's faces. It means that going new places alone is scary and confusing. It means that I have to work a lot harder to do the same things other people take for granted, whether that is reading a textbook for school, walking to the park, taking the bus, etc. It is not easy to live without sight in a sighted world. It can be exhausting, frustrating, and scary. As I walk through that unknown and scary world, one thing keeps going through my mind. It is, just take one step at a time. Do not worry about what will happen later. Just think about each step. One small step to success. That is the idea I hang on to every day. However, I am a lucky young woman. I am lucky to have the love and support of my parents, 3 sisters, family, and friends. I have often been asked, is it being blind terrible? I answer with a resounding no. I look at my blindness as just another great adventure on this journey we call life. Sometimes life doesn't make sense, but we most often focus on when it does not make sense in a bad way, and seldom in a good way. I guess that is what silver linings are all about. Going through adversity and coming out on the other side in a better place. As all the old sayings go, it doesn't matter if you get knocked down, so long as you get back up. One cannot pick and choose the things that happen to them, so the best we can do is to go along with our lives, capitalizing on our advantages and figuring out ways to make our perceived disadvantages work for us. Sure, I have my days when I get frustrated with the blindness, days when I would love to get behind the wheel of a car and drive just like any other kid does. Days when I long to see the faces of my loved ones and the beauty of the world. But I stop and look at all I've gained from not having my vision. Being blind has enabled me to see things my eyes could never see, the true beauty of the world. I see people for who they are without the physical trappings that cause so many people to evaluate a person by. I have met some of the most wonderful people that, honestly, some people might have ignored because of their appearance, material possessions, skin color, etc. I have also learned to develop my other senses. The world offers so much more than what meets the eye. It's utterly amazing how much you can see with your hearing, smelling, touching, and tasting. Losing your vision or being blind does not mean losing your independence or holding you back from doing the things you love to do. As a blind and visually impaired young woman, I am lucky to be involved in a number of activities and could do just about anything that my sisters could do, such as goalball, blind soccer, also called sockability, downhill skiing, horseback riding, tandem cycling, piano, dance, dragon boating, wall climbing, skating, swimming, and a number of other activities. I'm also fortunate to have all of the tools and information of how I'm going to live my life right at my fingertips. My life has always been made easier by the invention of the Perkins Brailler, the Braille Note, Braille books, Victor Stream, audiobooks, descriptive television, my iPod, iPhone, iPad, my white cane, and a number of other devices. The only thing holding someone back from achieving their goals is the lack of faith in their own ability. You need to take risks. However, as a young blind woman, I've learned that I cannot assume that everyone I speak to about my goals will agree with me. Throughout my life, most times when I had an idea for my future, there was always someone saying, "You can't do that, you're blind." Such comments have become fuel for my fire to desire to try it anyways. I just have to carefully think out my future plans prior to putting them into operation with the help of my parents. Do not let others prevent you from enjoying your life, even though you are blind or losing your sight. If you like to read, there are many sources such as recorded books, large print, braille books, etc. If you like to garden, continue to garden. So what if you put the plant in the ground upside down? It won't be long until you master the art of letting your mind and hands figure out what needs to be done. If you want an education, consider yourself the best judge of your own ability and enroll in a class and put all your energy into proving yourself you could be a success. The greatest barrier to life being full, even though we are blind, is our own inability to recognize the incredible skills and ingenuity we each have when experience a life-changing situation. Many people say, "God, you know it must suck to be blind." Or, "My God, how do you do it?" Or, "Oh, you poor girl." But you know what? There are plenty of good things about being blind, such as I get VIP treatment at amusement parks. I get to go on airplanes first. I ride the train for half fare, sometimes even free. I don't have to worry about bad hair days. I don't have to look at the teacher's boring PowerPoint presentations. I don't have to worry about wearing a blindfold and being called a cheat at Pin the Tail on the donkey. I'm not done yet. I don't have to worry about where I sit in the movie theater and if a tall person is sitting in front of me. I don't have to be exposed to the elements on the front of a motorcycle. Never have to worry about drinking and driving and having to be the designated driver. never have to worry about walking in on my parents naked. I don't have to worry about identifying bill notes. Just say, have you got change for this $100 bill? They will soon tell you what it really is. And so on, and so on. You know what is also cool about being blind? There is no race. I do not know beauty. I know people do what comes out of their mouth and what is in their heart. That is how I get to know people. I am very lucky that way. If you want to have an idea of what it's like, try going to the CNIB app for iDevices called iSimulator, and it can give you an idea of what people living with macular degeneration, glaucoma, cataracts, and diabetic retinopathy can see at various degrees of vision. It would be terrific if research was able to find a cure or surgery that would give me at least a little bit of my sight. I would be able to see what my parents and 3 sisters look like. I would be able to run in the schoolyard without the fear of falling. I would be able to see what is happening in the hallways of school. I would know when it was safe to cross the street. I would know what color was and really what my clothes looked like. I would be able to look out the window and know if it was snowing, and when I turned 16, I would be able to drive. Being able to see would give me so much freedom. In writing my speech today, I tried to find an inspirational quote that I could use. The one quote that I found that meant a lot to me was called A Winner's Creed by an anonymous author, which said, "If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you would like to win but think you can't, it is almost a cinch you won't. If you think you'll lose, you've lost." For out in the world we find success begins with the person's will. It's all in the state of mind. Life's battles don't always go into the stronger or faster hands, but sooner or later, the person who wins is the one who thinks I can. I can only imagine how my parents felt when they learned I was blind and that there was no cure, at least not yet. My dream is that one day no parent will have to experience what my parents went through, and no child will have to grow up without sight. My mom has said a number of times how much of a relief it has been to finally just have a diagnosis for my eye condition. I asked Mom what it has been like for her since finding out I was born blind. She took a minute to respond to me and then said, "Life did not go as planned. Life does not always give you what you think you want. It does not care what your feelings or plans are, and it chooses the route you will travel." And then she paused again for a second and said, "And I've realized that life has turned out so much better than I could have ever expected or planned. You have taught me so much." She said numerous people in her life had always said this quote to her: "The most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart," by Helen Keller. But until I was born, she never truly understood the quote. My mom then went on to saying, "Everyone has gone through something that has changed them in a way that they could never go back into the person they once were, and you were that changing factor for me. You have brought so many wonderful things and people into our lives, from friends, doctors, volunteers, etc., and you have taught me more about life than I could have ever learned no matter how much education I received, and I am lucky to have you. I also feel so lucky to live during a time of such incredible progress. Research is advancing by leaps and bounds, and unbelievable treatments are starting to become a reality, thanks to the ongoing commitments of people like you. It is only a matter of time before blindness can be prevented and people's sight can be restored. But those miracles will come about because of the seed of hope that you planted today. Vision research is already transforming lives. I was reading in the Globe and Mail an article about Dale Turner, a young Canadian who lost most of his vision to LCA, which is the same condition as I have, which is the most common form of congenital blindness. Babies who are born with blindness often have a genetic condition known as LCA. This frightening disease used to be called the incurable. Yet Dale's vision was significantly improved by experimental gene therapy. However, 3 days after the surgery, Dale stepped outside and removed his sunglasses and peered into the sky. Since then, he can see much better at night, and colors and contrast are much more vivid than he ever thought possible. Dale's story is inspiring because it proves that research breakthroughs can bring back sight. We have many reasons to be optimistic. I would like to thank everyone for coming out to Vision Quest today, especially families touched by vision loss, donors, monthly donors, fundraisers, volunteers, doctors, researchers, as well as people who are connecting with the Foundation Fighting Blindness for the first time, etc. Also, a big thank you to the Foundation Fighting Blindness for having this annual event for all the people in Alberta that are visually impaired or blind. Thanks to the people like you, I have support, and I have hope for the future, but I am not alone. So many people are affected by vision loss, maybe someone you really care about, or even yourself. It is Foundation Fighting Blindness's mission to restore hope and sight and to lead the fight against blindness by advancing research, education, and public awareness. With a heart full of hope, thank you.